Assalamu alaikum and a pleasant morning, girls. Today we are going to see a prose, The Figure a Poem Makes by Robert Frost. Here is the text. The Figure a Poem Makes by Robert Frost. Abstraction is an old story with the philosophers, but it has been like a new toy in the hands of the artists of our day. Why can't we have any one quality of poetry we choose by itself? We can have it thought. Then it will go hard if we can't in practice our lives for it. Now, the prose starts with abstractions is an old story with the philosophers. What do you mean by abstractions? It is existing ideas. Okay. Now that idea is that is the old story with the philosophers who used to say philosophy. Okay, but it has been like a new toy in the hands of the artist of our day. Now he says that it is a new thing in the modern era, that is artist of our day he is telling. Okay, is it clear now? Now what he is telling is we have to modify and we have to bring a change in that he is telling. Okay, the quality of poetry we choose by itself, the quality should be chosen, he is saying. Okay, is it clear? Here, the poet Robert Frost is talking about his own perception of how poem should be and how people should view poem. Okay, he is in his own perception, in his own ideas, he is telling that how a poetry should be. Okay, and how the people should look at the poetry he is talking. Okay, he mentions that all poems should be distinct from one another and should have wisdom that the reader can benefit from, not only to entertain them. Now, in the last previous class, I have shown one quote for you, right? And at the last, yes or no, girls? In that it is mentioned. Poetry should begin with delight, that is joyful, pleasant, but it should end with wisdom, that is knowledge, something it should give you. Okay, yeah, the reader should benefit from the poem. Is it clear? Is it clear, ma? Understood? Okay, that is what he is telling, that it should give wisdom that the reader can benefit from, not only to entertain them. It is not, the poetry should not entertain the reader, it should give knowledge, information to the reader. The poem should also evoke its readers to discover something they previously do not know. Now he is telling that every poetry should be unique, he is telling. Okay, every time he is if a reader reads a poetry, the reader should get any new ideas. Okay, Frost also noted that relationship of the writer's emotion while writing the poem and the reader's emotion while reading the poem. That he says that the interrelationship between the poet and the reader, he is telling that the writer is writing a poetry with the emotion that should be interrupted, that should be clearly understood by the reader. Okay, with the same emotion the reader should read the poetry. Is it clear? At the end of his essay, Frost asserts that poems are eternal, that they will forever bear their wisdom and truth. That is, it is for wisdom and truth he is telling. Okay, it is the text prescribed for you, girls. Okay, is it clear, ma? Here, granted no one but a humanist math cares how sound a poem is. If it is only a sound, the sound is the gold in the ore. Now he's telling that is humanist must cares about the sound of a poem. He's telling that the poetry should be very keenly written. Okay, we have to write very carefully. Then we will have the sound but alone, sound alone and dispense with the inessential. We do till we make the discovery that the object in writing poetry is to make all poems sound as different as possible from each other, and the resources for that of the vowels, consonants, punctuations, syntax, words, sentences, meter are not enough. We need the help of content, meaning subject matter. That is the greatest help towards variety. All that can be done with words is soon told. So also with meter, particularly in our language, where there are virtually but two, strict iambic and loose iambic. The ancients with many were still poor if they depend on meters for all time. It is painful to watch our sprung rhythms straining at the point of omitting one shot from a foot for relief from monotony. The possibilities for tune from the dramatic tones of meaning struck across the rigidity of a limited meter are endless. And we are back in poetry as merely one more art of having something to say. Sound or unsound? Probably better if sound, because deeper and from wider experience. In this paragraph, he says about that a poetry should be unique and it should be different from the other poetry. Okay, it should not resemble. Okay, it should not relate with some other poetry. He's telling it should not be related. It should be different from one another. Is it clear? He's telling that we have to write a poetry different as possible from each other. Okay, and he says that we have to concentrate on vowels, consonants, punctuations, syntax, words, sentences, meters. Okay, we have to take carefully. We have to keep in mind those vowels, consonants, and the meter, rhythm, syntax, everything we have to concentrate. We keep in mind and we have to write. Is it clear? That is, we have to bring it as much as possible, he's telling. Is it clear, ma? Okay. He's telling that the poetry should not only meant for entertainment or joyfulness. He's telling that the poetry should be unique from one another and it should give some wisdom to the reader. If the reader reads the poetry, he has to understand the same emotion what the writer has written with the emotion. Is it clear? Okay. Understood, ma? Okay. The next paragraph. Then there is this wildness whereof it is spoken. Granted again that it has an equal claim with sound to being a poem's better half. If it is a wild tune, it is a poem. Our problem then is, as modern abstractionists, to have the wildness pure, to be wild with nothing to be wild about. Now, in this he says that about wildness whereof it is spoken. Now he says we are living with the past ideas, okay, existing ideas. We are not inventing the new ideas. Is it clear? Okay. Now what is telling that To have the wilderness pure, to be wild with, nothing to be wild about, is telling. Okay, we bring up as abstractionist, giving way to undirected associations and kicking ourselves from one chance suggestion to another in all directions, as of a hot afternoon in the life of a grasshopper. Now, he is comparing a grasshopper's life to the poetry. Okay, in the hot afternoon, how a grasshopper feels. Like that, he is telling the wilderness in poetry. Okay, theme alone can steady up down, just as the first mystery was how a poem could have a tune in such a straightness as meter. So the second mystery is how a poem can have wildness and at the same time a subject that shall be fulfilled. Now he is telling about the theme, how the tune of the poetry should be. And the first he says that the tune of the poetry, the sound of the poetry, the rhythm, okay, the poetry should be very straightness as meter. Okay, and the second mystery he is telling that how we have to use wildness. At the same time, the subject matter will be that will be fulfilled in the poetry. Is it clear? Okay. It should be of the pleasure of a poem itself to tell how it can. The figure a poem makes, it begins in delight and ends in wisdom. Here he says that it should be of the pleasure of the poem itself to tell how it can. That is, by reading, the reader should understand that what type of a poetry it is. Like that, the reader should understand. Okay, without someone comes and tell that this poetry is like that, that poetry is like that. Is that okay? Okay, so the reader should understand by reading the poetry itself. The figure a poem makes, it begins in delight and ends in wisdom. I told you before itself, right? Yes or no? The poetry should begin with delight. Delight? That is pleasure, pleasant way, or enjoying, okay, entertaining. But that poetry should end with wisdom. That is, it should give you knowledge, it should give you information, something. Okay, is that clear? The figure is the same as for love. No one can really hold that the ecstasy should be static and stand still in one place. It begins in delight, it inclines to the impulse, it assumes directions with the first line laid down. It runs a course of lucky events and ends in a clarification of life, not necessarily a great clarification, such as sects and cults are founded on, but in a momentary stay against confusion. It has documented. It has an outcome that, though unforeseen, was predestined from the first image of the original mood, and indeed from the very mood. It is but a trick poem, and no poem at all is the best of it was thought of first and saved for the last. It finds its own name as it goes and discovers the best waiting for it in some final phrases. At once wise and sad, the happy, sad blend of the drinking song. Now, he says that the poetry should begins with the delight and ends with the wisdom. Now he is telling that the love poetry is also the same figure we have to follow, the same pattern we have to follow, that it should begins with the delight and ends with wisdom, something that poetry should say to the reader. Like it is possible to say in the love poetry also, like he is telling it begins in delight, inclineness to the impulse, it assumes direction with the first line, and it ends with the clarification of not necessarily a great clarification, but at the end the clarification must be given in the poetry. Is it clear? Okay. Okay, in the next paragraph we have no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. No surprise for the writer, no surprise for the reader. For me, the initial delight is in the surprise for remembering something I did not know I knew. I am in a place, in a situation, as if I had materialized from cloud or risen out of the ground. There is glad recognition of the long lost, and the rest follows. Step by step, the wonder of unexpected supply keeps growing. The impression most useful to my purpose seem always those I was unaware of, and so made no note of at the time when taken. And the conclusion it comes to that, like giants, we are always hurling experience ahead of us to pave the future with against the day when we may want to strike a line of purpose across it for somewhere. The line will have the more charm for not being mechanically straight. We enjoy the straight crookedness of a good walking stick. Modern instruments of precision are being used to make things crooked as if by eye and hand in the old days. Now, in this paragraph, he says that no tears in writer, no tears in reader. That is, I told you in the previous paragraph that the emotion, in what emotion the writer is writing, that emotion should come to the reader also, he said. Like, yes or no? Yes. Now here he is telling that if a writer is not, that is, there is no there is no tears in the writer, okay, the reader is also not having any tears. Okay, if the writer is not surprised, then the reader is also not surprised. Is that clear? Are you getting my points, girls? What he is telling here? Okay. For me, the initial delight is in the surprise of remembering something, and I didn't know I knew. I'm in a place, in a situation. Like he told in the previous section, that in the previous paragraph, that the poetry should be delightful and should be wisdom. Okay, should give wisdom at the end. So what he's telling, that if the writer is not having any tears, then the reader also not the feeling the same thing. Okay, is it clear? Okay, then the next paragraph, I tell how there may be better wildness of logic than of inconsequence, but the logic is backward. It retrospect after the act. It must be more felt than seen ahead like prophecy. It must be a revelation or a series of revelations, as much for the poet as for the reader. For it to be that, there must have been the greatest freedom of the material to move about in it and to establish relations in it, regardless of time and space, previous relations, and everything but affinity. We prate of freedom. We call our schools free because we are not free to stay away from them till we are 16 years of age. I have given up my democratic prejudices and how willingly set the lower classes free to be completely taken care of by the upper classes. Political freedom is nothing to me. I bestow it right and left. All I would keep for myself is the freedom of my material, the condition of body and mind now and then, to summons aptly from the vast chores of all I have lived through. Now he is comparing a poetry should be like in the previous paragraph it is he is told about the wildness. Okay, now he is telling that about the freedom of life. Okay, here instead of we knows that we are not free from the school till that is till the 16 years of our age, but we say if we get 6-day holiday, we say we are free for we are free from school, right? Yes or no? Even though we know that we are not free till we complete our schoolings, yes or no? And we parade of freedom, that is in our Independence Day or Republic Day we used to parade, yes or no? Yes. And he says that about he is giving prejudices, dramatic prejudices, how that the lower classes is free from the upper class, and how the upper classes is taken care by the lower class, and he is telling about the political freedom. Now he is telling political freedom is nothing to the poet. Is that clear, ma? Okay. Then, scholars and artists thrown together are often annoyed at the puzzle of where they differ. Both work for knowledge, but I suspect they differ most importantly in the way their knowledge is come by. Now, he's differentiating scholars and artists. Okay, the both the thing are puzzled, and the both gave us the information, the knowledge, but he says that it is different from one another. Okay, scholars gets there. Now he is differentiating. Okay, scholars gets there with conscience. Now he says that scholars get there with the conscious throwness along projected lines of logic. Poets there's cavalry, and as it happens in and out of books. They stick to nothing deliberately, but let what will stick to them with birds where they walk in the fields. Now he says that scholars is giving their ideas about from the projected lines and logics. Okay, they are giving, but the poet cavalry, what it happens that the poet gives the thing about the from the book. Okay, they both are not stick to that particular thing deliberately, but something which make them stick to that point. Okay, they walk in the field. Is that clear? No acquirement is on assignment or even self-assignment. Knowledge of the second kind is much more available in the wild free ways of wit and art. A schoolboy here he's saying about the artist, okay, and the scholar. That is, they are not assigning themselves by deliberately, but the work assigns to them. Okay, here he is telling about a schoolboy may be defined as one who can tell you what he knows in the order in which he learned it. The order must be value himself as he snatches a thing from some previous order in time and space into a new order with not so much as legislature clinging to it to the old place where it was organic. More than once I should have lost my soul to radicalism. Now he says that he is comparing a schoolboy. If a teacher is teaching and he learns from that, okay, that is his own learning. What are all the things he gets from the teacher? It is his learning, and what are all the things he says? Okay, I have learned this and that. That is his own thing. Okay, but if he, for example, if a group of member is asked to say something about about a particular topic, means different thing will come, right? Yes or no? At the same time, some other person will snatch those points and gathers that it is not the authentic one. Okay, real one he's telling. Okay, it is not a originality he's telling. Okay, now more than once I should have lost my soul to radicalism. If it had been the originality it was mistaken for by its young converts. Originality and initiative are what I ask for my country. for myself. The originality need be no more than the freshness of a poem run in the way. Now he is telling that the originality, the authentic should be given. Okay, I ask for my country, he is telling. Okay, I have described from delight to wisdom. The figure is the same as for love, like a piece of ice on a hot stove. The poem must ride on its own melting. A poem may be worked over once it is in being, but may not be worried into being. Its most precious quality will remain its having run itself and carried away the poet with it. Read it 100 times, it will forever keep its freshness, as a petal keeps its fragrance. It can never lose its sense of meaning that once unfolded by surprise as it went. Now, the last word is telling that we have to write a poetry. That poetry should be different from the other, that should be unique, and it should filled with surprise, and it filled with, that is, it should give the reader delight as well as the wisdom. If it is read by 100 times, okay, and it will remain fresh for ever, he's telling, like a petals, that is a flower petals, how the fragrance is left for ever, he's telling. Is it clear, ma? Have you understood? Okay, hope you people have understood. Overall, I'm going to tell you, that is, here the essay, that is the figure a poem makes, talk about his own perception of how a poem should be and how people should have view a poetry. Okay, it is his own opinion, it is his own regard. He says that a poetry should be like this, and a poet, that is, and a reader should read a poem like this. Okay, he mentions that all poems should be distinct from one another and should have wisdom that the readers can benefit from, not only to entertain them. Now he says that, he mentions that, that is, the poetry should be distinct, that is, different from one another, and it should have wisdom, knowledge, information. Okay, then only the reader can be benefited from the poetry. And you should not write poetry for the entertainment purpose. Okay, you have to give some knowledge, some information regarding about the poetry. Is it clear? Okay, the poem should also evoke its reader to discover something they previously do not know, but they actually know from the start. Okay, now in this he says that the reader should discover something new by reading his poetry. Is it clear? Okay, discover something new thing in the poetry. Is it clear? So that he says that the poetry should not resemble one another. Then only the reader can discover new thing by reading your poetry. Is it clear, ma? Okay. Frost also noted that the relationship between the writer's emotion while writing the poem and the reader's emotion while reading the poem. Now in this he says that should the relationship between the writer and the reader should be like, if the writer he is writing with the emotion. For example, I am telling, he is in love with someone and he is writing for his love, that emotion should be mentioned in the poetry. Okay, the same thing if a reader, okay, if a reader is reading your poetry, that same emotion should become to in his mind, the reader. Okay, the same emotion should be followed while the reading a poem by the readers. Is that clear, ma? Okay, then at the end of his essay, Frost asserted that poems are eternal, that is, it lives forever, that they will forever bear their wisdom and truth, that At last he says that your poetry will be live forever. The wisdom, the truth, the authentic, the originality will live forever. So he is asking the poets to write in a unique way and different from others. Okay, it should not relate to others, so that it will remain for ever and ever. Is that clear, ma? Hope you people have understood. Okay, girls. Hope you people have understood the text. We will have a summary maybe tomorrow. Okay. Thank you so much, girls. If you have any doubts, please do comment in the comment box. I will clarify your doubt. Is that clear? Okay. Take care. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz. Thank you, girls.